All right, Mike and Sean here. We'll be with Talking Tickets on April 6, 2022. We're going to be talking about our top favorite rarities, getting in some fractional talk, some of the big auctions coming up, maybe a few past auctions, and card porn coming up next. All right, Sean, how you doing?
I'm good. Let's do it. Let's get into this.
All right, so let's just jump right in. We had some requests. People we really like when you show some of your tickets. And, people have seen the big ones. Of course, we have some big boys. I don't know if we're going to bring any of those out tonight, but we want to show kind of our favorite rarities. So basically, let Sean kick it off, and maybe we'll go tit for tat and go see what you got up first.
Okay, I'll start with my one of ones. And first of all, let me preface this with explaining something about PSA. And I saw just today, I was looking on, I think on Twitter, Heritage Auctions talked about the Kobe full debut that they have that's coming up for auction. And they referenced it as if it was the only one known to exist. One of one. It's not the only one known to exist because there's multiple out there. It's the only one that was graded by PSA. So it's really important that if it's a one of one in the pop report, that it's the only one graded by PSA, not necessarily the only one that exists or that's known to exist. Because here's an example of that. This is the Mickey Mantle's last game full ticket, and it's the only one that's graded by PSA, not the only one that exists. Because I've seen others. I've seen at least one other one, and I'm sure there's a few others than that, but it's the only one that's graded by PSA. So I have a couple others that are one of one. This one I've shown before, but it's the only full Cal Ripken debut.
Now, where did you get these tickets? Maybe just a little background on each one.
The Mantle, I got that on eBay probably, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. It was just on eBay and I bought it, and it was the only one at that time that was graded. But back then PSA had hardly any population of any tickets, and so it wasn't really that big of a deal. And now it's become kind of a big deal because nobody's graded any others. What
was your ballpark cost on that?
700, I think.
Okay, for about 5 years ago, that's probably quite a bit, I would guess, right?
It was. But it's a tough one because at that time Mantle hadn't retired. He hadn't announced anything about retirement, and it wasn't even the last game of the year. So nobody at that game would have known that it was his last game. Like a lot of times players will announce their retirement. The final game of the year that's kind of the big deal. So everybody saves the ticket. That wasn't the case. And it was in Fenway. So it was kind of a rival, the Ripken, that one I bought at auction, I don't know, probably about 9 years ago. And it was Legendary Auctions. This doesn't even exist anymore. I think they got shut down. And I think I paid $1,500 for that and the stub that I traded to you. Mm-hmm. So both of them were combined. And nice. So that's why I traded the stub, because I didn't really care about the stub. The full was what I wanted. So that was actually one of the first big debuts that I bought. So I think it was probably about 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay.
And I got it graded. I've seen one other, so I know that it's not the only one known to exist because I know of at least one other one. Mm-hmm. It's the only one graded by PSA. So that's the distinction. And I have one more. This one I actually got graded myself and did the research on. This is Joe Montana's college debut. It's the only full that was graded, and I did the research to find out what Joe Montana's actual debut was in college, which was kind of hard. I had to go to newspaper.com and research each game and find out when he actually got into a game. And this was it. It was against Purdue that season. 1975 was also the Rudy season. So anybody who wants to collect the entire Rudy season, they would need this one.
Right.
This is a full, and it was at Purdue. So it's not anything that anybody would have saved for that. I'm sure there's others out there because people collect college football tickets. I'm sure Purdue collectors have them, but this is the only one that's graded. And I'm the one who got PSA to slab it as Joe Montana's college debut.
Nice. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Think about those, college debuts are interesting. They get more popular like everything else, but
yeah.
With the fold tickets, some fold tickets don't look much different than a stub, but then others, the full ticket looks so cool. And like that one looks really neat. Some tickets get ripped in half and then you don't see anything. But that one, I'm sure, I don't know if they ripped it in half, but when you show it as a full, it almost looks like a piece of art.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of college tickets had this, the vintage tickets, they were like, they had artwork on them, or they were really well designed. And, you don't really see that as much anymore, obviously, because they don't even do tickets. But those are my 3 only graded examples that PSA has.
The true one of ones.
Well, as far as PSA,
right. I'll show a few I have. I don't know if I have any true one of ones. I haven't checked the pop reports on some of these.
Yeah.
But first one is, I know, Sean, you some wrestling, some WrestleMania. I'll flip it over. So this is the first WrestleMania.
Wow.
Yeah, full. It was one of the first bigger tickets I bought. So I was at the national convention in, I think it was one of the Chicago ones. And I was walking by a random booth and I just saw it sitting there by itself without any other tickets. I like stopped dead in my tracks. I was like, holy cow. And I asked the guy and I go, how much? And he goes, $1,000. This is like 3 years ago, which is quite a bit, but I didn't care. I was like, I got to have it 100%. I go, man, I don't know. I'll give you 900. And he's like, sure. I was like, sold. And I was like, oh my gosh. It's like my first big, I thought like I got like a true super random gem that I plan on never selling. I never saw WrestleMania, the first one.
How long ago was that you bought that?
I think about three years ago.
Wow. So it seems like WrestleMania has really kind of exploded in popularity as far as the tickets go lately. Why is that? Is there some documentary or something?
I don't know. I could see it being like a good collectible item, collect all the WrestleManias. I kind of was one of the first things I started doing, collecting the top 10. I have some other like the 3, 4, and 5, some really cool ones.
What year was that? The first?
That was in 1985. I think there's 4 of them out there. There's 1 6 and then like 3 or 4
fulls.
Yeah, I think there's 4 fulls. PSA is graded.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely one I haven't seen before.
Another one, and this is more of, I remember where I was when this happened and it blew my mind and I just couldn't believe it. This is the Mike Tyson Buster Douglas ticket.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one of these for sale in forever.
Yeah.
Basically, I think I bought it on eBay for $500 like 3 years ago, and it was one of those where at the time seemed like it. And it actually didn't seem like that much at the time, but it was immediately a snap buy. Like, oh my gosh, there it is! And you see it, and it takes you 2 seconds to hit the buy it now and pray that he ships it out to you.
Yeah. I just saw. Speaking of that, I just saw that one. An example of that on eBay where I think somebody posted about it, but it was the Michael Jordan's first preseason or first spring training game.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the actual first, not that Chicago Cubs one, but the actual spring training game.
Right. It's like going deep.
Yeah, I've never seen one before, and that's
what
the actual first time that he faced, it played a baseball game, and it was $1,000. Somebody bought it now like instantly, which
Right.
I would have too. Yeah, because there can't be many of those, and that was a rare one you never see. That happens on eBay every once in a while.
Another one that I have not seen pop up since I bought it, and Ravel likes to reference this ticket a lot. I don't know why. I think he may have just got one. It's the Flutie Hail Mary game, and it's a full.
Yeah.
And it just looks really cool, with the U and the Boston College and the Hurricanes. And, I actually thought about getting this signed by Flutie, but I thought the ticket looked so cool. I didn't actually want his autograph on it because when he's not like super famous.
Yeah.
And it's just such a cool looking ticket. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get it signed, even though it may increase the value.
What's the grade on that one?
It's a 6. I haven't looked up that pop. I don't even know if there's 1 or 2.
Yeah, I want to look at it. What's the year? 80.
It's 1984.
Yeah.
And I'll while you're looking at that, I'll pull up one more. And I actually traded for this ticket at the national convention last year as part of a deal, and I never see these, and it was in such good shape, and I love this ticket. It's the Game 6 Buckner, but it's a full.
Mm-hmm.
You rarely ever see fulls, and it was a 5, and I was like, wow. I know like Stubs go for way less than what I traded the value amount for.
Yeah,
but it was another one like I don't think I'll ever sell because this is such an iconic game, and it's a full, and it looks so damn good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Did you find the pop on that flu game?
Yours is a full, or
it's a full?
Yeah, so there's 4 of them, and yours is 6. Yeah, there's 1 7, and then your 6 5 and a 3.
And then you don't know if it's season ticket holder or box office.
Yeah,
I think the season ticket would be way.
Yeah.
All right, so what else you got? I've just showed four of mine.
All right, these are tickets that I've probably shown before. This is one of my favorites. Ken Griffey Jr.'s first home run, full ticket, PSA 7. You don't see these very often. You do see his first home run, but as a full, there's only 2 that are graded. I'm sure there's others out there. Getting into the whole idea of opening day. This was the home opener for the Mariners, so there's got to be others out there because people save opening day tickets generally. But that's a really cool one. I'm a huge Griffey fan. This one I got on REA auction probably 5-6 years ago, and it was $1,500. So
dang,
pretty good. Yeah,
that's pretty pricey for 5 years ago.
It was, but it's extremely rare in that kind of condition. I mean, it's in perfect condition for that type of ticket. It's one of these box office ones that had to have been printed and stored in a envelope or something. And PSA 7 is pretty good. Mm-hmm. So I also have this one I've showed before. There's only 2 that are graded. Is Roy Campanella's Major League debut, 1948. This is a really, really rare one. All of these are tickets that, obviously mine are baseball heavy, but they're so rare that you never see them up for auction. So you have no idea what it would go for if it actually sold at auction. I couldn't even give an estimate because it could be, surprisingly low. It could be surprisingly high.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. I have a couple here. This one I've shown before, but it's one of my favorites. Lou Alcindor's debut.
Wow, that one is a freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's this is the highest graded of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can get the.
But a guy who has a full, right?
Yeah, I know a guy who has a full. There's 1 full out there, and there's 3 stubs, and this is the best grade of all of them. So who knows, with the hype of all the Lakers series that's on HBO and all of that stuff. This one is Kirby Puckett's debut, which you don't see ever.
That's a cool one.
There's 3 that are graded. There's 1 full, 3 that are graded. And it's weird. You would think that you'd see this one more often because it's relatively modern, 1984. But right. I haven't seen it. That one that I own is the only one I've ever seen up for auction. and I got it on eBay. And at the time, I way overpaid for it. I think it was $1,400, and at that time, debuts like that were going for maybe 500-600.
Mhm.
And I was surprised I had to pay that much for it, but it's the only one I've ever seen. And then this one, I think I've shown this one before. We at least talked about the Ricky Henderson debut.
Oh yeah, because that one came up for sale a while back.
Yeah.
I think it was on eBay.
Yeah. So the attendance at this game was 4,000,
Jeez.
and
Yeah.
there's only 3 that are great, and there's 1 full.
That's a cool looking ticket too, with a little
Yeah.
athletic. Is it a higher grade than authentic? Like, did somebody just grade it authentic, but it would be higher?
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. There's some stuff on the back that might make it.
Yeah.
Great. I would say a 1.5, maybe a 2, if I actually graded it. So not really. But that's I have a couple. This one is really cool. This one is Nolan Ryan's debut.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have that one.
6 of these, but this one's the highest grade at a PSA 6.
Are there any fulls out there?
Yeah, there is a full.
They're the same guy.
Same guy.
Oh my gosh,
it's a full.
Like a mystery man that.
Yeah,
You know, does he really exist?
Some of these to have a full, and like I've said this so many times, but the tickets that are not opening day, the vintage tickets that are not opening day, this is September 11, 1966, are so hard to find because it was just random. Nobody kept them for any particular reason.
Right. It was just a know-nothing game.
Yeah. Whereas the older ones, the vintage ones like this, it's opening day, and see how it says opening day on it.
Right.
It's almost like telling the owner of it you might want to save this because it's a souvenir. You know, it's different than all of the other tickets that you're going to have.
Right. So that's a good point.
Yeah. So they're a lot more common, but that's this one. I wanted to kind of transition into one of the auctions because this is a really cool one that's actually up for auction right now. Mm-hmm. It's the Joe DiMaggio's game-ending streak, where he had 56 game hitting streak, and then it ended on this game, and then he had a 16 game hitting streak afterwards. So this game is the only game that he didn't have a hit in 73 games, almost half the season. So
that's wild.
And
what's the red X? Is that?
It's just what Cleveland tickets at this time always had that. I don't know why, but
that's weird.
That's on all of them. Yeah. But that's what I have. What else do you have?
All right. Let me get into my stash. I got this ticket a while back, and then I got it autoed. It's the Bird Magic Championship, which I thought I was super, super fired up at how the autos turned out.
Yeah.
And went for crazy amount. And I was like, man, should I sell this? It's like, I love this ticket. I don't know if it'll stay as high as it did, but
yeah, I forgot what do you remember what that sold for?
Sold for like 50,000.
Some ridiculous amount.
This is ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous when I say that. I still have it. This is one that I think the very first ticket I ever bought, or one of the first. It's the Rudy debut, or the Rudy game, and it's a full. And I think it's the highest graded. It's a 7.
It's also his debut.
I guess it is his debut. You're right. It's his debut.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a full Rudy.
I think I saw one on eBay where it was listed wrong, but as a stub, it was really a full, and it was basically snap bought.
Yeah.
And it was in really good condition too. So I'm wondering if I haven't looked at the pop report if that got graded or not. I think I paid like $500 for it at the Chicago show. This guy had all Notre Dame tickets.
Right.
So he had a Rudy full and a Rudy stub. My buddy bought the stub, and I bought the full.
I think I saw that guy at the Chicago Sports Spectacular. He had all Notre Dame stuff.
Just random.
Yeah.
He was like trying to collect every full ticket to a Notre Dame game, which I thought was a pretty cool collection. And I think I don't know if he had all of them, but I think he was getting pretty close.
Well, that's a heck of a deal. You said $500 for that?
Yeah, I think that was 4 years ago at the
Yeah.
Chicago, and 4 or 5 years.
Because I think a
ago.
stub recently sold on eBay for what, almost
They usually
3,000.
go for like 2,000. The basic stubs do.
Yeah.
It's kind of the ballpark. I love this ticket. The band is out on the field.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see these pop up much. I don't think they're that uncommon, but it's such a cool game and awesome just to watch.
I have one of those too, and there's one issue with those is that they're almost always faded to the point where you can't see the seating assignment, and so yours is not, which is rare. Mine, you can barely see the seating assignment, which makes it kind of look like a proof. But yours has a nice clear seating assignment, so it's a nice copy of that.
This is fits well with the tournament just ending. It's the shot by Leitner. I got it autoed.
Mm-hmm.
I bought this about 2 or 3 years ago. I think the ticket was like $300 or $400 or something like that, and I got it autoed.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're kind of a debut guy, and I'm more of a moment guy, so I think mine definitely skew heavily moments. I got a couple more. I bought this at an auction. These pop up all the time. This is like my favorite ticket, or one of my favorites I started buying, but it's also autoed.
Yeah.
And it's a full, and it's an 8. The auto is a 9. But like there's another one ticket. It's like, man, maybe I should sell this, but I like always love this ticket, and I feel like it's a little underrated. But now everybody talks about it, so it's not really underrated ticket anymore.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that now.
Right, I agree.
I bought like 2 or 3 years ago. I love this ticket just for the optics, and people have been getting into concerts more, and I think it's like the quintessential concert ticket. Like it's the Nirvana last concert.
Nice.
And I think it's just because it's so cool looking. Like you won't find, and look how big it is.
Yeah,
this thing's massive. And think about it, you had to take this into a venue, probably without a lanyard. I mean, how are you ever going to find one that's in a good condition?
Mm-hmm. Unless they didn't use it.
Yeah, but this is one that I think is awesome, and I don't know, Nirvana. I feel like is almost like I see young kids wearing Nirvana shirts all the time, and it's really weird. Like the younger generation loves. I don't know if they love Nirvana, like kind of like how we were into the Beatles. The older band. Like, oh man, Beatles are like the it band from back in the day.
Yeah,
this is like a random one. I think I've shown this before. Debut. Here you go, Undertaker autoed. You can't handle that.
You need to get that slab. That's a really cool one. Yeah,
and I think that's all my rarity favorites. Did you have any other ones?
Those are, I mean, other than the ones that I showed last time, like this, the Koufax debut. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah, that one's amazing. Koufax. I mean, freaking great.
There's only 3 of these that are graded. I think there might be a full, or maybe not. I don't know. This is an interesting one, actually. It's another one of one. Never find one of these again. It's a Don Newcomb debut. Don Newcomb's not a Hall of Famer, but he's like maybe someday he will be. MVP winner, Cy Young winner. I think he lost 2 or 3 seasons to the war. So if he would have had that, he probably would be in the Hall of Fame. But that's, it's an example of one, you don't see a lot of Cardinals tickets from this era. And 2, it's middle of the season, May 20th. No reason to save it.
Right. And good luck finding one of those.
Yeah, it's the only one that's graded by PSA. It's a pretty cool one. So yeah, a lot of baseball. I have tons of, and some of the ones that I have that are more valuable or known to be valuable are just, I don't really see them as my favorites, like the Tiger Woods,
Right. Yeah. I mean, we have stuff like that, and people have seen those like crazy. I'll be like, hey, let's show some randoms and some rare randoms.
Stuff that you just don't see that often. I have, I don't know. Some of them I maybe should have. We should do another one where we do stuff that isn't valuable and is
the cheapos that we love.
Yeah.
The $700, $200 tickets that we love.
Oh yeah, I have lots of that stuff too. It's mainly Seattle related stuff, but whatever.
All right, I want you said you're going to give me a fractional rant. I want your fractional hot opinion.
I said that.
Well, you
Man,
said you wanted to talk about the fractionals, the fractional world.
the fractional one. So, do you have any of that up? Like what's
Yeah,
coming?
I can pull it up. I'll pull up Rally because I have a good thing, interesting thing that happened with me on a ticket.
So one of the things, I don't know if this is a rant, but I wanted to bring it up, and that is that like with the wilt, what is it at now? Like these things are
$102,000 value. I'll pull up the chart. I was playing with it earlier. Okay. So there's the chart. Like it started,
and then
at 115,000, and then within I don't know how many days. So from November to this February. Here, I can actually pull this screen up, the whole thing. So yeah, November to February, it goes from 115,000 to 57,500 in 3 months, and then shoots back up, and now it's hovering around 102. Yeah. So talk to me.
I think that one of the issues, and I've heard some people who work with these companies kind of reference this, and that is that if you have items that are so rare that they never get traded, you don't know what the real market value is. And so they just kind of sit there on these fractional kind of platforms. And so then you end up with this, the people who are holding the item, they want to free up their money. So they sell it to get into something like cards that are traded all the time that may be going up or, have a lot more activity, because that's kind of the whole point of this thing. And it causes something like the wilt to just plummet in value in terms of, what it is, to the point where it was down to like 50,000 or something, 55,000 or something like that.
Yeah, where it was at 57,500.
Yeah. And that would have been about half of what it's actually worth. And that, so it causes this problem in I don't know how they're going to address it. Maybe just they need more people trading. But you get the really, really rare items that are in real life more desirable. And on this platform, they're sort of less desirable because they don't ever trade.
Right. It kind of shows you, like, say you own one share, like the guy sold probably one share for $5, and then it brings the market value of the item down $50,000. It's a pretty illiquid market at the time.
Right.
But now it looks like there's more bids, more asks. So it kind of looks a little better.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how all of it works as far as like how often things are traded and that, but it's not, it definitely is in need of some tweaking. And I'm not sure what the solution is. I see that a 32 Babe Ruth called Shot is coming up, and that might be more interesting because that one has been going up quite a bit lately. They're saying 95,000. What is it? Just high grade?
I was wondering what you thought about that.
What?
It's basically 95. Let me see if I can get some good pictures.
I think the grade must be really high. What's the grade on it?
It's a 6, I believe. Man, why can't you give me a better picture? Yeah, it's a 6.
Yeah, so a 6 is definitely a high grade on that, and so obviously they're placing a lot of value in the grade premium on that, because that's a what, a $10,000 to $15,000 ticket
for like a 2 or 3. I think one sold. Actually, I have it pulled up. Love the game, a real nice looking one, but not that nice. Sold for 15,000.
Yeah, and that was raw.
It was raw, and it probably grade like a 2 or a 3, I would guess.
So it's interesting because obviously that one has a high population. There's, I don't know how many, but definitely over 100 that are graded, and there's probably hundreds more out there. So high population will trade a lot. You'll see it sell a lot often. I wonder if that will have a better, impact on the real market fluctuations in, with this fractional. But 90,000, that's outrageous.
That's what I thought. I was like, man, if this was a full, I think I'd be all in on it. Like if it was
at 95,
a stub, I'm like, whoo, that's it's hard. These fractionals, you see it a lot. Like the IPO happens, and then there's no real action, no real comps, and people get bored, or they, like I said, they got to move their money and the prices slowly go down, and then they can get down low enough where there's a buyout. Or they just kind of stay low. And you see that all the time with these fractionals. I could see that happening, with the Babe.
I'm not sure. I know that they have to have a good, I guess, research justification for their valuations, but I'm not sure where they got that.
I guess if it's a 6, I mean, maybe. I mean, they're pretty much saying we want to price it what we think we could get it sold out for. So we'll see. I mean,
yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts on fractional altogether?
I think it's a cool concept, but yeah, it's kind of in its infancy. I don't think the markets are liquid enough, and it worries me if things go bad and people need money and a bad recession hits, that we could see a lot of this stuff tank. Especially if the market turns, I think it could get real ugly. But it's a cool concept if you feel like something's undervalued, you can get in on it. But it's hard to see like I said, other than cards where you have comps all the time and you can trade off that, man. These non-card items where there's not many comps, it's just tough to value this stuff. And that's, you don't see too much movement on the shares unless people are looking to get out and get their money.
Yeah. The real only way to get paid on it is if there's a buyout offer or if the value of it goes up significantly, and then you decide to sell your shares on the trading market. So, it's one of those things where it's all about speculation. It's a speculative market. Mm-hmm. There's no utility value in these fractions, and there's no dividend. So you're only buying it for the purpose of trying to hope that it goes up in value and then sell it later, or get it bought out and sell and cash in that way.
Right.
I just don't think that that's okay. I bought some. I bought fractionals of different of a couple on collectible and rally, and I'm not that excited about it. I often forget I even have it.
I don't. Yeah, I think what happens with a lot of people is like they just kind of forget, and then I have it, and then when you need money, I got those fractional shares. Well, just whatever it's at, I'll just get my money out, and then you don't care anymore if the value of that item goes down because you're out.
Yeah.
Another thing, this was interesting. I don't know if I talked to you about this. So a while back, there was an Elvis last concert that I really liked, highest graded 8, or tied for the highest grade. And I was like, man, maybe I could steal this one and buy it, not steal it, but get it at a good value. And of course, I was bidding on it, and I felt like one other person kept bidding against me. It got to the point where it's just tit for tat. And I finally said, you know what? I'm not I'm out on this. I don't know if I may regret it, I may not. But I was like, man, I wonder who this buyer is. Well, I found out when I went to Rally. I'm like, oh, that's who bought it. That's who I was bidding against, was Rally.
Yeah.
Bid it up. And that's a funny thing. And I think we did talk about that. Now, Rally can basically almost bid it up to any point they want because there's no comps. This is one of the highest graded. So they can set the market and then just price it a little higher and say, hey, look, we're selling this. Look, it sold on Heritage for $34,000. It was bought on Heritage for $34,000. But look, now we're selling it for $40,000. It's only a little more. Let's fractional this out. And I'm not saying this is a bad buy. I love this ticket, but it's kind of frustrating to be bidding against a monstrosity like Rally, who has 100% intention of fractionaling it out. And then they can, like I said, basically set the market. So that's what it's worth, because look, it sold on Heritage. So it's worth at least $34,000, even though they're the ones who bought it. And now the ones that are fractionaling it out.
Exactly. So you're basically saying that they don't even have to worry about reaching the maximum amount of money that they have or trying to get it for a reasonable price, because they're going to fractionalize it in the value that they fractionalize it is going to be whatever they want it for.
Right.
So they don't care.
And there's no other comps. They set it. But I do think this is an awesome ticket. I mean, Elvis is the king. And they're having a big old movie coming out here in a couple months where everybody's going to be talking about Elvis, listening to Elvis music. It'll be like a real popular thing for how long, I guess, depending on how good the movie is.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. Like, oh, who's bidding against me? I'm kind of surprised it's just getting bid up and like, oh, it's Rally. Great.
What? Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think that's kind of a gray area, honestly. It's clear with cards, maybe not as much, just because there's so many more, and you can always find other comps to value it at. But there's no other way to
No, I think the second highest sale for that ticket was like 6,000 or 8,000 for a 3.
Yeah.
And then it's like, boom, an 8. So what's an 8 worth? Well, it's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. Well, Rally was willing to pay whatever it costs because they knew they could just fractional it out, and they felt like they could sell it out at that. So maybe, I mean, I guess that's what it's worth if you can get a bunch of people to get in on it.
Yeah.
But it is the best, probably top 3 concert ticket. So, I mean, I'm not saying this would be a bad buy or a good buy. It's just interesting on how all it went down. Hell, I might even get in on the IPO, but
what are I saw the Pele. Hold on a second. What did they want for the Pele on the?
So they got the Pele coming up. Let me pull that up. Pele is 48K. What do we got here?
The grade.
It's a 1.5. Damn, I'm asking a lot,
man. That's insane.
I like that reaction, man. That's 48. All you need to say.
These things sell so often now. You probably don't follow it as much.
Yeah, no, I see them because I know you made such a point about it.
Yeah, they're selling on eBay commonly for 8,000-9,000 now. It's not
right. This is I don't think was one of their,
and it's slabbed at just about the lowest possible grade that you can get. So there's nothing special about it.
Right. Here, did you see this one? The Griffey Jr.
Yeah. I think we talked about that one before, right? The 25,000 for that one. They also won.
Did they buy that one too?
No, that might actually be a decent deal now because that other one's 43,000. I'm
assuming like on the Elvis ticket they bought it because the turnaround was so quick.
Right.
I mean, somebody could have bought it and then taken it straight to Rally and made a quick, 5K, 5-7K. But I see that maybe.
Who knows?
The other one, they had the Tiger that went for 70. The Jordan, I'm kind of curious to see what happens with this now that there's so many coming out.
Yeah, and that's I have to believe that a lot of people don't understand between the Ticketron version and the, just like when Justin was on here last time and he was talking about how there's probably a lot of Ticketron tickets coming in the pipeline because they didn't even grade them until about a year ago, and it's taken that long for them to get them processed. So we're going to probably see an explosion of Ticketron, and this is a really high price Ticketron. So I don't know.
Yeah, that one went for 160. I think it was a 5.
Yeah, high grade, but it's Ticketron.
Right.
I'm old school. I'm not really into the third party tickets.
Yeah, and there, we touched on the 3 coming up that end in actually 2 days. A Jordan box office of 3, it's at 45,000. The 5 is at 45,000 box office, and make it a little bigger. The Ticketron 1 is at 33,000. So,
yeah. Those will be interesting. When that ends in 2 days.
A day, a little over tomorrow night.
Interesting. Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch.
I know a few other. You talk about the Hunt auction. If anybody hadn't seen the Hunt auction, there's some bangers in there. Just some monster tickets.
Some really cool baseball ones. Of course, there's the Jordan debut that's red. That'll be interesting to follow. But what else? There's
you got the first game with the 5 African American players. It's already, man. I remember that ticket was going for like $500.
Yeah, that would actually be a really cool one. I think I placed an early bid on that to be in the extended, but I don't know if.
Yeah, it says estimated 15 to 25.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, I kind of organize them by highest. You see them. Yeah, you can see them pretty clear on
So
there.
this one, yeah, the one on the left, the July 17th, 19th, that's the one that I showed. And that one, it's a PSA 6, which is the highest grade, and that one is a really cool one. There's only 6 of those, I think, or 5 or 6 that are slabbed by PSA. You hardly ever see them, and I haven't seen one sell in a couple of years at least. So that'll be interesting to watch. A lot of really cool baseball tickets in this one.
Yeah, man, look at these, like Rodriguez debut, Hank Aaron and Mantle 500, Ted Williams 500, the Mays ticket 1919. The fix is in. I mean, look at these are these are monsters.
A shot heard around the world. That's a really good
one. Let's see what else we got. Bob Feller opening day no hitter. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the. Go ahead.
I'm definitely going to try to win a couple of these. I'm not going to talk about what the competition, but there's a few in here that I definitely have my eye on that are really cool. The Ricky Henderson 130th stolen base. You don't see that every day when he established the record. That's in there. So right there, the one on the left, the Harvey Haddix, that's one I also have, and it's a really cool ticket. That's a historic game, 12 innings. Perfect innings, and then he lost the perfect game in the 13th inning. And that game, at that time, there was maybe 5 perfect games in the history of baseball, and so that was a really big event, I think. The Rennie Stennett 7-for-7 game, that's really cool. There's only been one. I know it's inside baseball, but there's only been one it's baseball history to have 7 to go 7-for-7 in a 9-inning game. And that
you're a baseball junkie, like this is talk about card porn. This is like baseball ticket porn. The Billy Goat curse game. Like you haven't really dug into this too much. There's that Steel game.
Yeah,
I just thought it was almost overwhelming. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, I think that somebody has a nice collection and they decided to sell it. They decided to consign it out, and because it is a nice collection of tickets.
And then when does this end? So we got a good 3 weeks, but it's this one that ends in a live auction. That Jordan Red. Are the other ones? Let me see. Yeah, live auction. So these are ending in live auctions, which are interesting. And I know you have some.
Yeah, I didn't know that they're going to do a live auction for this. Because that's, I mean, it changes how you approach it, the strategy on it. So, but Hunt does that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, do you have to be by your phone can you put a max bid in, or you got to be?
Yeah, it's the same. You can put a max bid in, but do you really like to do that? You're not sure. So if you really want it, you need to be there when it goes off. And each auction item, each lot goes off at a different time, and you don't know when it's going to. So you basically have to be available for the entire day.
Yeah, it's kind of an old school beating, but they put it online now.
Yeah. So I don't know. Most of them get bid up quite a bit before the auction, so you kind of know whether you're going to be a player in it or not. So.
Well, our last topic of the evening is you hear us talk about card porn. Like, what are they talking about? Card porn.
Yeah. Anybody who follows tickets closely on Instagram is familiar with this story.
Right. So all the ticket people were going wild on the internet the last couple of days. Because Card Porn has a massive following, basically said the gist of it is our strong belief is that ticket stubs were simply used to get into a venue and then thrown away. It's a recent phenomenon, basically saying this is kind of pump and dump trash. And then people went crazy. Right.
Not collectible. And so they posted twice. This is the second one that you have up there right now. The first one was more what got everybody stirred up. And that was where they asked if tickets were even collectible, which is kind of a dumb question because obviously they're collectible. I mean, people collect seashells. People collect buttons. Like everything is collectible. But in this case, I think the best part of this was reading all the comments on Instagram. Read all the comments. It was basically 9-1 people supporting tickets. Like even people who aren't ticket collectors were like, yeah, it actually seems like kind of a cool thing to collect. Not my thing, but everybody else is into it. That's cool.
Right. You can say, oh, this is a terrible take. I don't, it's kind of fun to read through it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of what you're saying. Yeah, it's kind of a dumb question. Sure, they probably that's like anything else. There's been stuff that's been, pumped and dumped. But, it's obvious. People collect anything. And it's just a fun hobby. And like I said, when I meet ticket and card collectors, I feel like the majority of people collecting tickets are collecting basically to hold on forever. I think there's some debut stuff that people are looking to flip. When I talk to people about cards, my buddy owns a pretty popular card shop. Those guys, it's like a joke. Oh, you're collecting for your PC. Ha ha. No, like they're buying something to sell to somebody else in the future. And I don't get that vibe from the majority of ticket collectors, but I do get that vibe from the majority of card collectors.
Yeah. And you also get that vibe from people who are criticizing tickets in that same way, because that's their worldview. So, it's like if somebody is in it for a certain reason in their space, they assume that everybody else is doing that. So they assume that ticket collectors are doing the same thing that they are. And I think that that's kind of what we saw a little bit with that. But I mean, otherwise, it just seems like, and I've mentioned this before, but if you criticize Darren Ravel, he's going to respond.
That guy, he is the damn hardest working guy.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how he does it.
Like, he will message you back. He'll comment on your posts. I was like, this guy is pretty amazing, because he's posting all the time. It's like, how does he find the time to do all this stuff?
Yeah,
he will defend tickets to the death. And
I know he wrote up a whole. He wrote up a whole report on why tickets are collectible. Right. He posted it on there.
And he is a true collector. Like, people would trash on him. Like, he's not looking to make a buck. Yeah, he probably had a duplicate or two, or thought something was overly priced. It's like, you know what? I don't love this that much.
Take some money off the table.
He loves his crazy, goofy tickets. And he probably has some huge bangers also.
It seems like an account like that has kind of, I don't know if you know any of the history on card porn, but they started off just showing off like big pulls of people breaking wax, breaking boxes and stuff, and their reactions and all that stuff. And then they started kind of being the hobby police and criticizing, unscrupulous actors. And when they do that, they get quite a reaction. Obviously, they've realized that if they are critical in certain spaces, they'll get more attention, and it's kind of evolved into that sort of thing. And
it's kind of like a microcosm of the internet. We'll post something that gets people fired up, and I'll get all these.
And that's the motive. And that becomes the motive. So then if you post something where you're critical of Darren Ravel and he responds, everybody on his platform is going to look at it, and all of a sudden you have a ton of attention. And I think that certain people realize that, and so they do that, and it's just, it's kind of a waste of time other than the gossip.
Right.
But I enjoyed it because I enjoyed reading all the people who are supportive of tickets in the comments, and it's good to see. So it was useful in that way, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was just fun to read. Well, I think we had a good stopping point. We'll probably get back together next week, maybe go over some of those big auctions. I know we've talked to a few people about coming on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of a fun time in the ticket world for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Let's wrap it up.
All right. If you guys watch it and you made it all the way to the end, maybe message us about some stuff, you maybe type of tickets you want to see. Do you want to see more tickets, less tickets, kind of what any topics you want to bring up? We're all game for hearing your opinions.
For sure.
All right, Sean. Opening day tomorrow. You ready?
Looking forward to it.
We may talk some opening day ticket talk for sure. We know there's a couple big names and some good stories behind all that. But yeah, it's a good time in sports. Opening day, we have playoffs coming up in basketball. I'm fired up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you probably next week.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Have a good one.